Committee meeting October 21st, 2023 at 9:02 a.m. I would ask Derek Jennings to please provide the opening prayer.
I'd just like to say thank you for another day. Thank you for my ancestors, your ancestors, being a tribe, being a people, and I want us to continue to support one another and keep growing and to make it better for our children and grandchildren and future generations to come. I appreciate all of you, and I hope we keep showing that appreciation to one another and keep working towards that. Protecting Mother Earth and this lands in a good way with everybody, and everybody gets back and remembers to spread that love that we all have for one another.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Derek. Vice Chairman Glass, would you please take roll call and declare quorum?
Madam Chair,
Present.
Cipino. Vice Chair Glass here. Business Committee Member Davis.
Present.
Business Committee Member Buffalo.
Present.
Business Committee Member Mercer. Business Committee Member Gibbswater.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll go on to the next item. We are on 4, reading correction and approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Question.
All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The minutes are approved. Next, we're going to go on to reading correction and approval of the electronic phone polls. Member Gibbswater, would you take the first couple?
Yes. Dated 9/20/23, the authorization of authorize the to authorize the execution of service agreement with Studio PR 144. The Quapaw Nation wishes to execute a service agreement with Studio PR-144 to improve access to information for Quapaw Nation members to ensure the accessibility and accuracy of Quapaw Nation information and documents. This was sent to a poll due to time frame and agreement needed to be signed by. Approval count was 6. Last approval 9/19/23.
Member Gibbswater, would you go ahead and take the next poll, 19622?
Poll number 19622 was for the fencing extension restricted property access contract. The Quapaw Nation Business Committee requests to extend the contract with the Bureau of Indian Affairs for an additional 3 years commencing on October 1 of 2023 through September 30th, 2026. The approval count was 6. Last approved was 9/21/23.
Thank you, Member Davis. Would you please take the next 3?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is poll number 19648. It's authorizing McKinsey settlement participation. This resolution and poll is to authorize Levin, Papanantonio, Rafferty, Proctor, Buchanan, O'Brien, Barr, and Mogi to submit the tribal participation form, the Quapaw Nation, in order to obtain and in consideration for the benefits provided to the tribe pursuant to the settlement agreement and acting through the authorized law firm, hereby elects to participate in the McKinsey settlement and become a participating tribe. Note, this is an opioid litigation class action civil suit. The poll was submitted due to having the deadline of October 1. It was presented to us 9/26 with an approval of 6 and certified 9/26. The following electronic poll 19652 came to us on 9/26. And this is a request by Joplin Crusaders. We have 2 tribal members who are requesting a $500 donation to assist them to travel with the team. The team is to play in the Southern Plains Bowl Championship at the U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The team will have a Quapaw Nation sticker on their helmet, and a Quapaw Nation flag will be carried into the stadium. This was approved for an emergency phone poll because of the team departing on 9/29. Certified 9/26 by approval of 6. The following electronic poll 19653 was requested by tribal member Mary Heather Dismuke, asking for a $500 donation for her children to compete in wrestling with the Miami Takedown Club. This will help offset the cost of equipment, tournament registration fees, and uniforms. The nation will be recognized through the Quapaw Post with pictures. This was authorized as an emergency phone poll because of the due date of October 2nd. This was an approval of 6, certified 9/26.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Glass, would you please take the next 3?
Phone number 19659. Donation request, tribal member, Kansas 4-H shooting contest. Tribal member is requesting a $500 donation for lodging and travel to attend the Kansas State 4-H skeet, trap, and sport clay contest in Wichita, Kansas on October 14th and 15th. She has worked hard all year and qualified to compete in the Kansas State 4-H skeet, trap, and sporting clay. She is the only girl to qualify from Cherokee County, Kansas, 4-H. She is an 18-year-old senior at Fairland High School, a Cherokee 4-H member, and a member of the Quapaw Nation. This was sent to by phone call because of the date and the event being before the business committee. 6 approved on 9/27/2023. Phone number 19662. Donation request, All Tribes Educational Consortium. This donation is part of the Quapaw Nation's FY 2023 annual budget. In addition to this, member Davis Stipend, earned as a member of the NTHS board, is also donated. The donation is extended importance in supporting scholarships for Indian children, Native Americans. This was sent by poll due to the end of the fiscal year 2023 budget on September the 30th. 5 approved, 1 abstained, motion carried, certified on 9/27/2023. Phone number 663. authorization to receive free, I believe this is Narcan. This pole is authorizing the substitution of documents by the business committee to facilitate the intertribal allotment of free Narcan. This is placed, put to a phone call, poll to meet the October 13th deadline. Account approved 6, approved on 9/27/2023.
Thank you. Member Buffalo, would you please take the next three?
Yes, Madam Chairman. It's poll number 19668. It's requesting purchase of 1456 mobile home as a living quarters for the administration grounds night watchman, with a recommendation to purchase at the Clayton Mobile Homes of Neosho. The approval was 6-4, none against, certified on 9/28/23. Number 19696, Quapaw Nation amicus brief. A resolution authorizing and direct Wayne Supinall, Chair of the Business Committee of the Quapaw Nation, to join the nation as a part of the amicus brief to the Oklahoma Supreme Court in the case of the Oklahoma Council of Public Affairs versus Honorable Greg Treat, Senate President Pro Tem. Poll was submitted to meet deadline for filing. It was approved 6-0, certified on 9/29/23. Poll number 20063, authorizing chair to sign confidential agreement with RSM. Poll is to authorize Wayne Supinall to sign the confidentiality agreement between Quapaw Nation, RSM, US LLP. This was sent to a phone poll prior to accelerate RSM's review of certain privileged data required for the scope of work. It's approved 5-4, one abstention, certified on 10/3/23.
Member Mercer, would you please take the next two?
Yes, Madam Chair. This is poll number 20107. It is authorizing the chair to sign confidential agreement with Hobbs Strauss. The poll is to authorize Wayne Supinall to sign the confidentiality agreement between Quapaw Nation and Hobbs Strauss, sent to a phone poll to accelerate Hobbs Strauss review of certain privileged data required for their scope of work. It was approved by a count of 5-4, one abstention, and approved on 10/4/2023. The next poll is 20205, Quapaw Nation NAAF Grant Agreement. It was submitted by Trenton Stan. The resolution authorizes Quapaw Nation to enter into an irrevocable limited waiver of sovereign immunity and authorizes the execution of said limited waiver of sovereign immunity on behalf of the Quapaw Nation in a form substantially as follows, and to provide herein to independent and irrevocable limited sovereign immunity on the same basis for the same purpose. It was submitted because of the due date of the grant, and this is a grant for food sovereignty, and in order to receive the grant, this was a requirement. It was approved approval was for the approval, and abstained was 2. It was approved on 10/6/2023.
Thank you. I'll take the last three. This is poll number 20261, rescinding resolution 091920F, authorizing appointment of Douglas Dry as special prosecutor. The Quapaw Nation Business Committee would rescind resolution 091920-F, authorizing the appointment of Douglas G. Dry as a special prosecutor, and terminates its engagement with Douglas G. Dry effective immediately. This was deemed as an emergency because it is in the best interest of the nation. It was a unanimous approval and certified on October the 10th. Poll number 20262, resolution appointing Joseph Williams as attorney and terminating engagement with Rob Lawrence. The Quapaw Nation Business Committee appoints Joseph Williams as the nation's attorney over the pending civil case Quapaw Nation et al. And terminates its engagement with Rob Lawrence effective immediately. This was deemed an emergency because it is in the best interest of the nation. Last phone poll, 20263, resolution terminating all representation from Barker, Waltz, and Lawrence Law Firm. The Quapaw Nation Business Committee terminates any and all legal representation engagements with the Barker, Waltz, and Lawrence Law Firm, including representation of the nation, Downstream Development Authority, and Saracen Development LLC, effective immediately. This was deemed as an emergency because it's in the best interest of the nation. Is there a motion to approve the phone polls? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I actually do have a couple of highlights I'd like to point out. So we received a call this week questioning why the agenda contained phone polls that were not on the website. It was a really good question. From this point forward, all phone polls, regardless of whether they have an attached formal resolution or not, will be posted on the tribal website once the vote is complete. That's good. Another good question was raised around emergency donation requests via phone poll. 4 had event deadlines before this meeting. It was time-sensitive nature that drove these to be considered emergencies. But this does open up a couple of more questions we should consider here. First is, how could a donation be considered an emergency? The BC discussed this concept earlier this week and would like for them to share some of the situations we discussed. And I know Member Buffalo and Member Davis, you both had very compelling comments on this.
Madam Chair, my concern was that, concern from the people, how come we have these phone polls? What if your family has an emergency like illness and you need to get somewhere, or a death? Those would be emergencies. They would be conducted by phone polls if they, at the time they happen. That was my concern.
Thank you.
One of mine that I have brought up, I know that we have individuals that participate in different various events, and there's a lot of expenses associated that, and that literally one of the, in the more detailed list, this actually was an opportunity to provide them for their meals while they were traveling to participate in an event. So with that being said, these were presented to us as an emergency, and I will continue to consider that as an emergency.
Thank you. Another area surrounding donations is an important question. Why does it appear there are so many donation requests? Well, we've come to learn after comparing all donations between fiscal year 2022 and 2023, a lot of donations were just getting made in especially 2022, but without BC approval by vote or coming before the full BC. What we can say is they're all out in the open now, and that has been the case for at least a year. Based on additional scrutiny, we have decreased donations by about 350% between fiscal year 2022 and 2023. Any further discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor of approving the phone polls as presented, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The phone polls are approved. Next on the agenda is the approval, disapproval of the treasurer's report. So we did have some updates before we go to the vote. First, regarding Quapaw Casino, we've got some really good news to share, and that is by the end of this month, we should have the sovereign immunity issues resolved with our preferred architecture firm. The architecture firm's professional liability policy to adhere to the Quapaw Nation Tribal Court is expected to be final on October the 24th. This is a big deal for Quapaw. We're very excited for the nation and everyone involved. This is truly a victory in advancing and protecting tribal sovereignty. Theorist and author Brian Brayboy termed successes like this one as transformational resistance by tribal leaders and subject matter experts to enrich our tribal nations with progressive stances such as this one. So we're really happy about this. We're kind of making a strike for some of the smaller tribes. Evidently, the firms commonly approve these provisions for the larger tribes, but not so much for us. But we're changing that. Regarding the financials for the month ending August 31st, 2023, EBITDA totaled $303,000 with a margin of 14.56%. This result missed our budget expectation by $66,000 and represents a decrease of $60,000 from August of 2022. The decrease from last year is primarily the result of decreased slot revenue with an increase in Q-Play, promo points, etc. All other expenses were either very comparable or less year over year. Total net revenue decreased from August 2022 by 11.1%. Net income for the month totaled $287,000 with a margin of 13.7%. This represents a negative budget variance of $46,000, relatively small in the grand scheme of things. Regarding downstream, for the month ending August 31st, EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, taxes, and amortization, totaled $7.7 million with a margin of 43.2%. August result exceeded budgeted expectations and were $300,000 higher than August of 2022. From an EBITDA standpoint, August 2023 is the second best August in downstream history. So this is a fantastic mark. Debt reduction during September. I know I'm fast forwarding to September, but I get excited about this stuff, so I always want to share it. The debt reduction increased at the end of September with the required quarterly payment of $7.5 million. This payment brings the total debt eliminated to $144.5 million since the restructure closed late 2021. Our next quarterly payment of $7.5 million will be due at the very end of this year. Saracen's September results. Operations continues to see favorable trends in volumes as slot handle exceeded prior year September results by 10.9%, and slot revenue finished above budget by 17.7%. Sportsbook volumes were more than 2 times the volume experienced in September 2022. Total gaming revenue finished 14.9% higher than September of 2022 and 9.7% above budget. Bet Saracen continues to grow and positively impact operating results. Volumes from sportsbook increased as expected due to seasonal factors such as the start of the NFL season and the first full month of NCAA football. The positive impact from sportsbook continues to complement the favorable performance of slots instead of making up for lower than expected results, as was the case in the first quarter of the fiscal year. In the coming months, we'll actively complete the planning, design, and coordination for all planned development for Saracen, including renovations and remediation of the existing facility and foundations. Another phase of pre-construction work began in July with full-scale construction of the hotel and event center projected to begin early in calendar year 2024. So the whole Saracen Casino Resort team is excited to continue making progress on those significant projects, especially in terms of diversifying cash flows and providing the best gaming experience to our guests. Focus continues on building the premier experience to provide future returns for the Quapaw Nation. So in addition to that, is there a motion to adopt the treasurer's report?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those any questions? Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the treasurer's report, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. We're going to go on to the approval, disapproval of directors and subcommittee reports as submitted. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor of approving the directors and subcommittee reports, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Next on, we'll go to the chair's report. We've got plenty to talk about, so please bear with me, folks. First, would you please join me for a moment of silence for those tribal members who have passed since last month? That list includes John Gratius, Serena Brown, Nicholas Bartlett, infant Rika Wofford, Cody McDaniels, and Jason Burns. Thank you. On to a lighter note. Thank you to the Cultural Committee, Quapaw Facilities Authority, Tribal Member Services, O-Guah-Pah Communications, Events and Planning, the Department of Public Safety, Quapaw Facilities Authority, already said that one, and countless volunteers to make the Quapaw Nation Fall Festival, the gathering, a truly memorable event. About 200 tribal members attended and everyone had a great time. I think everybody loved the social dances and all the activities. And seeing member Gives Water get tackled by 3 Quapaw women was the highlight of the day. And we still get to enjoy the pumpkins at our entrance. The kids did such a fantastic job on the pumpkin carving contest and the other painting contest. I'm like, I don't even want to join in. They're awesome. So, some more good news. Cherokee Nation Attorney General citizen Sarah Hill was nominated by President Biden earlier this week to be a U.S. District Judge for the Northern District of Oklahoma. If she's confirmed by the Senate, she would hear cases filed in the Northern District, which includes Ottawa County. Senators Langford and Mullen have already come out in support. The Quapaw Nation, as part of Intertribal Council of the 9 federally recognized tribes in northeastern Oklahoma, already sent a letter of support supporting her nomination. If confirmed, she will be the only tribal citizen to serve as a federal judge in the state of Oklahoma, where 43% of the land is Indian country and 14% of the population is Native American. Next item is based on intelligence gained by Everett Bandy, director of the Tribal Historic Preservation Office. We learned on 9/27 there was an opportunity for tribal nations to provide comments on the presidential budget to the Office of Budget Management. We think this is the first time in history this has occurred. In less than 48 hours, an impending government shutdown, the executive directors, the TIPO office, O-Guah-Pah Communications, and the Business Committee provided a formal response. There were multiple funding priorities, but at the top of the list was the Bear Settlement Authorization Appropriation. The Quapaw Nation Business Committee remains committed to pursuing every avenue possible to get this settlement funded. Thank you to Everett Bandy, the TIPO office, and all those who came together as a team to achieve this historic milestone. Next, we're going to go on to the subcommittee announcements. There were 39 Quapaws that responded to our request for those who wish to serve on subcommittees. That is an absolutely incredible response, and we were happy to review the submissions along with their feedback on what they can contribute to the subcommittees. 26 new individuals will be appointed today to new or existing subcommittees. First off, on the election committee, there was one opening, Michelle Newton, effective December the 1st, 2023. We also have a new subcommittee that we're calling the New Enterprise Development Committee. As pointed out yesterday, we had it as New Business Development. It's a little bit too close to Business Committee, so we wanted to give it a different name. But this is New Enterprise Development Committee, 7 individuals: Jim Adams, Michelle Bowden, Art Cusat, James Mathis Jr., Dr. Mindy Mayfield, Gavin McCarty, and Debbie Ray. Next on is the Constitution Committee. So in addition to Roman Kahiga, John E. Rogers, Mans McKibbins, Derek Jennings, and Vance Gilmore, and Grace Goodeagle, 4 additional members will be appointed. Chris Heatwell, Nathan Phelps, Billy Schapp, and Minnie Francis Waters. They have a lot of work ahead of them, so expanding the size of that committee will help them accomplish that good work. Next off, we're going to do something a little bit different. So what we decided to do was to create a Quapaw Events Committee. 9 individuals We combined the event-based activities of what the Culture Committee and the Children's Committee did previously and decided to expand the number of committee members. They're expected to work in a coordinated fashion with Melanie Shawnee's leadership and financial acumen. So again, these individuals will be responsible for executing the events. Those 9 members include Jean Ann Blaylock, Molly Drapeau, Melissa Gaines, Lindsay Hickey, Karen Hildreth, Mary Jacobs, Larry Kropp, KK Smith, and Chance Turley. Next, we have the Quapaw Culture Committee. 7 members. It's been redefined. Their primary input will be why a particular experience is important or relevant to the Quapaw culture. The committee will define what activities need to be conducted and when. Their outcomes will be based on who needs to be engaged and how that will be done through skill building and scheduling. This committee will not be expected to perform all of these activities, but to call on the expertise of multiple artists, historians, experts, and practitioners to create those experiences important to us as a people. Those 7 individuals are Everett Bandy, Charlene Button, Barbara Kaiser Collier, Sean Ellick, Bill Griffin, Risa Supernaw Proctor, and Braxton Red Eagle. So again, that's been redefined. Is there concurrence or objections among other business committees members on these appointments?
Madam Chair, I concur.
Concurred.
Each of these subcommittees should plan to elect your chairman and secretary at your next meeting. If scheduling assistance is needed, please feel free to contact Brent Devine at brent.devine@quapawnation.com. There are no changes to the other subcommittees such as cemetery, elders, emergency financial assistance, and enrollment. Now, the subcommittees for the stipends for all subcommittees have never been formally approved through a business committee resolution. We met earlier this week, and we will present next month a resolution that defines the subcommittee stipends. On September the 30th, 2023, the Quapaw Indian Council elected 2 additional grievance committee members, making it a 5-person body. So the full grievance committee is comprised of Laura Rollins, Lena McQuarrie, Cuggy Supernaw, Justin Ray, and Mary Heather Dismuke. We look forward to their drafted policies and procedures by the end of May. That way, we'll have more than 30 days to come prepared to the General Council on July 4th, ready to make modifications and vote on those. Is there anyone here today that can state whether the grievance committee has met and elected their new officers? Cuggy? Oh, hold on. We've got a microphone on its way.
Check. We met this morning and they elected Laura Rollins as the chairman and trying to think of the former secretary was reelected. That was,
Lena McQuarrie was reelected secretary.
yes,
Thank you.
that's all the officers we have.
Thank you so much. Great. On that same day, we also elected 5 Ethics Commission members. The full body is comprised of Skylar Rollins, Sean Matthews, Brenda Murray, Jerry Montgomery, and Virginia Mouse. The Ethics Code draft is expected by the end of May, so we can be prepared by July 4th to make modifications and vote on those as well. The Ethics Commission met Thursday evening, and they have selected their chair as Skylar Rollins, and their secretary is Virginia Mouse. Their meeting dates are every other Thursday starting on November 2nd, and will meet more frequently if they see that extra time is needed. In terms of these standing committee stipends, we know the Ethics Commission is new, but we cannot find where the Grievance Committee stipend was ever approved by the Quapaw Indian Council. As a result, we'll be placing stipends for the Grievance Committee and Ethics Commission on the agenda for General Counsel July 4th, unless a special General Counsel is called prior to that time. Remember, these are standing committees, and only the Quapaw Indian Council can approve any compensation or stipends. Sorry, I lost my place. On 9/30, the Quapaw Indian Council voted by supermajority of the following. The Quapaw Nation Indian Council hereby affirms the elected Quapaw Nation Business Committee's delegated authority to speak and act on behalf of the Quapaw Nation, and the Quapaw Nation Indian Council approves the Quapaw Nation Business Committee to distribute the bear settlement proceeds fully and equally to all enrolled Quapaw citizens as of September 27th, 2019, still living at the time of distribution. The foregoing resolution of the Quapaw Nation was presented at a duly called Quapaw Nation Special General Council meeting on September 30th, 2023, with a vote reflecting 457 yes, 13 no, and 3 abstaining. Having 473 Quapaws vote is a great turnout, and thank you to all who took extraordinary measures to attend that day. It was a humbling day for all of us. We heard the Quapaw Indian Council on September 30th, and as a result, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee has affirmed the following. No official response was provided to Mr. Barker's 723 and 922 demand letters until October the 11th. The Quapaw Nation is a sovereign nation. The U.S. Congress has no authority to demand the Quapaw Nation negotiate with an unrelated third party. The unrelated third party has no authority to demand the Quapaw Nation, a sovereign nation, enter negotiations with the unrelated party or respond by October the 27th. On September 30th, 2023, by overwhelming majority vote of the Quapaw Indian Council, a resolution was passed by the Quapaw Indian Council. The resolution reaffirmed the authority of the Quapaw Nation Business Committee to speak and act on behalf of the Quapaw Nation. In addition, it directed the Quapaw Nation Business Committee to pursue a full and equal distribution of the bear proceeds to all enrolled members as of 9/27/2019, once authorized and appropriated by the U.S. Congress to those still living at the time of distribution. The Quapaw Indian Council is the supreme body of the Quapaw Nation. The Quapaw Nation Business Committee serves the Quapaw Indian Council. Therefore, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee is compelled to decline discussion with an unrelated third party. So on October the 11th, we sent the following letter signed by all 6 business committee members to Terry Barker. The letter states, the Quapaw Nation is in receipt of your letters from, hold on. So the Quapaw Nation is in receipt of your letters from September 22, 2023 and July 26, 2023, requesting a meeting with the Quapaw Nation Business Committee to discuss the Thomas C. Bear v. United States settlement. The Quapaw Indian Council is the supreme governing body of the nation, and the Business Committee is legally bound by the mandates of the Quapaw Indian Council on this matter. As you are aware, the nation is governed by the resolution authorizing the Quapaw Tribal Business Committee to speak and act on behalf of the Quapaw Tribe of Indians, known as the Governing Resolution, adopted by the Quapaw Indian Council on August 19, 1956. Specifically, Section 5 of the Governing Resolution reserves to the Quapaw Indian Council authority over any disposition of settlement funds due to the membership. The Quapaw Indian Council exercised this authority on September 30th, 2023, passing by a supermajority vote Resolution 093023-A to direct the Business Committee to pursue a full and equal distribution of the bear settlement proceeds to all enrolled members as of September 27th, 2019. This resolution affirms the mandate previously enacted by the membership as Resolution 091821-A on September 18, 2021, directing the Business Committee to ensure equal distribution to each enrolled member of the Quapaw Nation the bear settlement proceeds in the amount of $137.5 million. Therefore, the nation expressly rejects any offer to discuss or negotiate the congressional appropriation or distribution of the Bear settlement proceeds in any manner that does not result in an equal distribution to each enrolled member as of September 27th, 2019. If, however, you are interested in discussing the congressional appropriation and distribution of the Bear proceeds in a manner that results in an equal distribution to each member as of September 27, 2019, the Business Committee would be happy to schedule a time to discuss this further. That same letter was sent to Senators Langford and Mullen, as well as the House members Cole and Burkeen, welcoming the opportunity to meet with them regarding introducing legislation consistent with the Quapaw Indian Council vote and Resolution 0930-23-A, the supreme body of the Quapaw Nation. They will all be contacted personally next week. As announced previously, Hobbs, Strauss, and RSM have been retained by the Business Committee to conduct an independent review of legal and financial records concerning the distribution of funds derived from the Quapaw Nation, Good Eagle, and Bear litigations and settlements. The firms presented their work plan to the Business Committee on September the 29th and received approval on October 3rd. Since being retained, Hobbs, Strauss, and RSM have set up an e-discovery document database to analyze more than 5,000 documents received to date. Their procedures have included interviewing key individuals, building a database for modeling analysis for the distribution of the settlement funds, reviewing Quapaw meeting minutes, analyzing Good Eagle distributions, and reviewing expert reports. Hobbs Strauss is finalizing its initial review of all documents filed with the Court of Federal Claims in the Quapaw Nation, Good Eagle, and Bear litigations, and Hobbs Strauss and RSM have created a working draft timeline and case summary that will continue to be updated as additional information is reviewed and analyzed. Hobbs Strauss and RSM continue to work with the Business Committee to attain the additional case files and settlement materials in order to complete its review and analysis of the relevant documentation. We just wanted to provide somewhat of a progress report. They're clearly not finished, but they're making good progress. Next on the list, the Quapaw Nation not only has one, but three AARP elder honorees. They are Betty Gadke, Cuggy Supernaw, and Carrie V. Wilson. Please join us in congratulating them. They will be recognized at a luncheon awards at First American Museum in Oklahoma City, November 1. The honorees, family, full BC, and O-gah-pah Communications will be there to applaud their contributions. Today marks the 2-year anniversary of the Lawhorn decision, where the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals held the Quapaw Reservation had never been disestablished. We always knew that, but they needed to figure that out. This is a great day to celebrate our sovereignty as a nation. There'll be a press release that's either already come out or will come out later today. Upcoming events, most of these are going to be addressed by the subcommittees. I see who's present in the room, as well as the executive directors, but there are a few that we wanted to point out. There's a finger weaving class October the 25th at 6 p.m. Just to make the announcement, November is Native American Heritage Month. So beginning November 2nd at the Joplin Public Library, Betty Gadke's pottery will be featured, and that starts at 5:30. I'm not sure how long it runs, but it starts on November 2nd, so it's going to be a good event. RAIN presents Native American Cultural Celebration November the 10th through 11th at the Coleman Theater, celebrating Vine Deloria Jr., author of God is Red. The lineup events for those 2 days are really quite remarkable, and I would encourage everybody to attend. There's social media posts going out. There's some flyers up. It looks like a really great event, and they have decided to move their permanent home to Miami, Oklahoma. So this is wonderful. I know that Frank Frazier could not be here today, so I want to remind everybody, the Secretary-Treasurer Election Day is November the 4th. Polls are open 9 to 5. Voting will take place at the museum classroom, not in this building, Okay, so the election will be held at the museum classroom. And just a reminder, get those absentee ballot requests in if you're unable to vote in person that day. There's also a moccasin making class November the 7th through the 9th from 5:30 to 7:30. Our Quapaw Veterans Dinner is November the 10th at Downstream Casino and Resort from, I think the night times are a little bit different, 5:30 to 8:30. The next BC meeting is November the 18th in here. I see Grace is here, so I know you'll talk about the elders trip. I did want to mention and make sure there's awareness on that elders trip to Branson. The good news is there's been a fantastic response by the elders who are interested in taking the trip. The bad news is we've already reached full capacity and can't accept any new requests for travel packets at this time. So the bus is full. The museum Christmas party is December the 10th. I know that's always a very well-attended event that everybody enjoys. Let's see. The children's Christmas party is to be determined since the events committee is just coming together, but Melanie Shawnee has already begun making some preliminary plans. The business committee has made arrangements for a tribal member block of rooms at Downstream New Year's Eve. Same for some seats at Red Oak. But once that block is gone, they're gone. So if you're interested, please make your reservations immediately. And we're glad to make that available. Different topic. You may have experienced delays recently with your tribal member medical, dental, eye reimbursement plan. We're aware of the situation and those delays are actively being resolved. So we're aware of that and working toward resolving all those. Member Mercer, I know that Executive Director James Dawson is unable to attend the meeting this morning. So would you please give the Quapaw Facilities Authority progress report?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is from Quapaw Facilities Authority, their bullet points. On the Farmers Market Pavilion, the construction is complete. Gutters and staining have been preformed. Cleanup is occurring this week. On the Ray property, which is the housing, foundations for 1 through 3 are poured and plumbing has been roughed in. Porches were poured this week. SPI has installed seal plates on the 3 lots in preparation for structures being installed. They're supposed to be, if it all goes as scheduled, delivered sometime late this week, and they will start setting the first 3 homes. Lots 4 through 8 and 29 through 30 are at elevation and have completed construction material testing. A total of 10 lots are ready to build. We expect that they will start digging foundations on those starting at the end of this coming week, if it all goes to plan and the rain does not wash it out. The main roadway is 1.5 lifts away from being at subgrade, and this is expected to be completed this week. All lifts have passed compaction testing. Procurement resolution is up for this meeting. 5 companies bid for the work. The winning bid was a partially native-owned business. They are also using some local subcontractors. This project came in under the engineer's estimated budget. The OCL splash pad and playground, the ground was broken on September 25th. The east playground is at subgrade. Some of this playground equipment was repurposed for the North Native American Church. Other pieces will tentatively be repurposed at the subdivision. The south drainage ditch along 50 Road is being redone to manage our water, which will help get drainage away from some of our buildings, and we can avoid future mold issues. Substantial completion for both projects is tentatively scheduled for March 2024. The powwow grounds, work continues on the water line installation on the west side. They've begun laying out water lines on the east side now that the fall gathering is complete. BEI has started electrical improvements on the east side. They're waiting for the installation water lines prior to installing the electric. Their line is shallower than the 4-inch main and did not want to cause rework issues. Project is on schedule for June of 2024 and it's substantially completion. Grant applications, we're awaiting notification on whether we are invited to send a full application on the DOE Tribal Electrification Grant. We expect notification within the next 30 to 45 days. In the next 30 days, expecting notification of the award for a grant through FHWA DOT to cover engineering costs for the East 66 Road project. If awarded, cost savings are approximately $350,000 to the project life. The DOE grant that is being worked on with Les Whitaker to help secure funds to make the nation more energy efficient should be awarded in the next 2 weeks. Forestry building, the building has been bought and is being engineered manufactured. This will be about a 12-week process. Once we have a delivery date, we'll collaborate with the contractor to schedule the erection. Lincolnville Sewer Project, the crew is at the south end of 628 Road and are installing structures for the project. The crew was able to get the limestone hammered out, which took quite a while, and install the wet well. They have started boring crossings and installing electrical this week, looking for approximately 30 days until Lincolnville is on Quapaw Sewer. We will then move on to the lagoon abandonment. IHS is testing sludge this week, and we will know the depth soon. Utility Field Services will also perform the lagoon abandonment. It is a native-owned company. Processing plant, the project for it is pushed to FY24. Pre-bid was held October 6th. 5 companies attended, 1 native-owned. Bids will be opened on Friday at 3 p.m., and I'm assuming that was this past Friday. Roads, they've finished a review of the long-range transportation plan, working with BIA to update and revise. The new plan should be out for public comment in the second quarter of 24. This will include a new priority list that will align better with the needs of the nation and its leadership. Maintenance, documented work orders 262 scheduled and completed for fiscal year ending 9/30/2023. HVAC unit installation in the Wyandotte Fire Station Bay is nearing completion. HVAC personnel have installed heat and air units in the DV homes. Electrical personnel are doing detail work in DV homes. The office has been completed, and we expect the DV units to be completed within the next 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Mercer. That concludes the chair's report. We're going to go on to the accounting report. CFO Eric Boone. Good morning.
Good morning. September wrapped up fiscal year 23. In September, we received revenue of $2.8 million, bringing our total for the year to $32.5 million. Expenses in September were $2.9 million. Total for the year, $34.2 million. Tribal member health benefits in September were $495,000, bringing our total for the year to $4.84 million. Social services benefits in September, $285,000, bringing our total for the year to $3.3 million. Education expenses in September, $212,000, bringing our total for the year to $1.4 million. Our tribal member enterprise, or our tribal enterprises under the government, distributed $300,000, bringing their total for the year to $3.1 million. In other departments, our CCDF program assisted 180 children in the month of September, and 56 daycare facilities were subsidized. Announcement, this Thursday, October 26th, there's a Halloween party from 6 to 8 at the fitness center gym. So if you've got kiddos, want to bring them out, it is open to the public. Again, Thursday, October 26th, 6 to 8 p.m. at the fitness center gym. Our grants department assisted with compliance on 3 grants in the month of September and has 1 grant application in progress. Our IT department received 82 help desk tickets and were able to resolve 77 of those 82. Procurement assisted with 157 purchase requests in the month of September. Our tag department processed 121 renewals and 34 new registrations in September. And no car seats. All right. In our tax department, we collected 161,000 in tax revenue in September, bringing our total for the year to 1.74 million in tax revenue for the fiscal year. Does anybody have any questions? Good. Annual revenue is 32.5 million. That's received, yes. 34.2. Any other questions? All right.
Thank you. We'll go on to the subcommittee reports. Grace, would you like to report on the Elders Committee?
Thank you. I would like to mention that the Elders Committee, excuse me, and the Constitution Committee did meet. And so I was pleased at the response of our elders. They turned up in force with that. And the Constitution Committee was wanting to meet with the elders to get some input as they're continuing work on their Constitution. As was mentioned, the Branson trip is set for December 4 and 5. Apparently that went quick, and it is the bus is full. But also mark on your calendar, the Christmas dinner will be December the 16th at Downstream. And so information will be coming out on that. So, gonna get.
Thank you so much, Grace. Constitution Committee, Roman?
Good morning. So as you just heard Grace share, we did meet with the Elders Committee, and that was a fantastic meeting. I mean, we just keep raving about it. We had 15 elders show up, and it was just a ton of sentiment shared with us about doing what we can to preserve culture, to preserve identity, to preserve who we are, and how we can build that into our Constitution, whatever that may look like. So we've shared some information with the Elders Committee about what some other nations are doing and how they incorporate their elders into their system. So we've shared that. We've also got some other information to share with the folks also. But we want to do this with the Elders Committee on every other month basis. I mean, it was that good, and we know that there's more dialogue to be had there. On Tuesday, I met with Billy Proctor. We talked about how we can include more language in our governance to help emphasize and illustrate who we are, right, and that identity, having that identity in our documentation. The Ethics Commission, I got to sit in with the meeting on them on Thursday, and it's great to see them getting off the ground. We've shared, I sent it all to everybody this morning, but I've shared all the documentation that the Constitution Committee had collected and started on, so that's all on the Ethics Commission's laps now. In the back of the room, so here's where we're at, what's next for the Constitution Committee. Tomorrow, we have a Robert's Rules of Order training. There's still room if you haven't signed up to please either sign up or message me, let me know if you want to attend. We've got about 8 more slots available. So if you need some motivation, there'll be snacks in the morning. Okay. And if you wait long enough, there'll be sandwiches after that. Okay. There's also the Robert's Rules of Order 12th edition has come in. There's some additional copies on the table in the back there. If you need a copy, please let us know. If we run out, please let us know. There will also, if you're attending the training tomorrow, we'll also have some available there. So if there's only a few left, try to save some for somebody who's not going to be there. For folks on Zoom or not able to attend, not able to come pick one up, we are going to explore an opportunity to get one sent to you. We budgeted well over what they cost us to get. So we're going to see how it works and where the manpower is going to come from to do it. But we'd like to be able to get these in the mail to folks who want to request one also. So that's not a high priority on the list, but it is on the list of things that we want to explore with getting that out to everybody. November 4th and 5th, there's going to be a nation building seminar. Native Nation Institute with the University of Arizona is going to come out and assist us with a dialogue, a 2-day dialogue. On the back table there is a flyer. One, it's got a QR code at the bottom for registration to help make it easier. And then there's also a draft agenda sitting on the back there to give you an idea of some of the conversation, some of the dialogue that we're going to be having. And with that, the Constitution Committee is going to be taking some action based off of the feedback and dialogue that we have. So please, we encourage you to show up. So the feedback that we receive from that is what we're going to be presenting in the future to the Indian Council. So if you want to be a part of that, please come out. If you want to, help keep this conversation going, please attend that. It's free. There will be food. There'll be breakfast and lunch. Also on the back table, there's a QR code that looks like this. There's also one in the back corner. If you have an opportunity, scan this with your phone. It will open up a link that the Constitution Committee is going to be using that's holding links to all of our documents, the stuff that we're going to be working on. It's going to have events. It's going to have links to governing resolution, the documents that as they come to life for us, they're all going to be housed in this location. If you need assistance, if you don't know what a QR code is, let me know. I'll be happy to help you with how to get that pulled up, how to save it to your home screen, or how to get it sent to you in email. I'd be happy to do that. Before we end the meeting today, I'll share a link with the folks on Zoom so that you guys could have that. It's going to be the same link over and over. So if anything changes, all of our information can be found there. There's also opportunity to, if you don't want to participate in a large group discussion, there's a calendar invite where you could set an appointment, set up a call time, which is convenient for you to get in contact with us and have a discussion, share your concerns and whatnot, and you could set that appointment up. All of it's accessible from that same link. So really feeling hopeful about how this is going to unfold for us. What else do we got? I believe that's it. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you, Roman. Any other subcommittees wish to report this morning? Great. Let's go on to the executive director reports. First up, we've got Trenton Stand, Executive Director, Resource Management. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. All right, I'll start by covering some of the resolutions that's under new business today. B is a land acquisition over in the Pitcher area. It has some cleanup, kind of multi-purpose site. It'll help us with future cleanup sites and things. There's actually a water well that's being used for cleanup now, also associated with this property. So it makes sense over there. It affects multiple departments. So F is a land acquisition that I believe is the house that's been mentioned, this north of the elderly housing or the domestic violence homes that adjoins our property. G is a mandatory fee to trust. So undivided interest that the tribe had acquired. The Bureau of Indian Affairs they have to take that land into trust once we verify that interest that we acquired was restricted, and there still is restricted status on that undivided property description. Looks like H is a standard fee to trust acquisition request, so we need a resolution from the business committee giving us authority to submit the application to the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And M is a consolidation. It's a chat pile acquisition or a sale, so that's pretty self-explanatory. We've done quite a few of those over the years. And N, that's a lease agreement with Fabic Cat. We have been waiting on these two pieces of equipment for many months, and largely in preparation for our work going into Kansas. We had a kickoff meeting with Region 7 EPA last week talking about the work to be done in the Quapaw Strip. These 330s, we did our due diligence with their attorneys, reviewing lease agreements and things prior to them arriving. I believe they actually shipped from Germany and was hung up in a port for many months trying to get out. Well, when they got here and they brought us our lease agreements, they had been revised by attorneys on their side that was different than we initially reviewed. However, as I mentioned, we really needed those, and there was a waiver of limited waiver of sovereign immunity that they wanted us to sign. So that's what this is passing, approving those documents. We are solely only limiting sovereign or waiving sovereign immunity to the amount of the 330s, the two pieces of equipment, and that lease agreement. Nothing else. I have relayed through Michael Young to the company that this will be the only time that this is done this way going forward. If we have to do it in this manner, it won't be done. We will be with go another route, whatever that means, another company, something to that effect. But due to our work status with the cleanup, the scarcity of equipment, I felt like that this was our best option, rather than seeing them sell it, because that's where we were at during this process. Was they were about to sell the equipment out from underneath us if we didn't get this approved. And I believe that's all on the new business. So I'll get to covering my report stuff here. So as you heard me mention, there's a couple feet of trust on the agenda for approval. So in the realty office right now, currently there's 4 feet of trust at the Miami agency. One was approved, which was another mandatory last month, and there's 7 other projects actively in the work for them. We have 5 people that's either reached out wanting to sell interest or property to the tribe that's being considered, and information provided to the business committee. We had some probate, just miscellaneous requests in regard to probate, nothing new filed over the past month. Residential leasing, it's always kind of the same stuff in that area. You got people making a mess, getting demand letters, a few non-payments. We had one court case through tribal court that was held last month. They ruled in Realty's favor for the landowners on that. One agriculture lease was approved. One chat sale was submitted to the Bureau. We had 6 active EPA sites on restricted property. We conducted 1 sale, 3 gift deeds, and moved the process along for a gas line right-of-way negotiation. That meeting actually is taking place next week with the gas company in Tulsa, so that'll be a big milestone for us. They went to a couple trainings for some new staff, and we met with the Bureau of Indian Affairs trying to resolve an outstanding business site lease issue and chat sale pile. and we believe we found a path forward so that property is just not sitting there idle with restricted interest and chat leaving the property without compensation to landowners. The forestry department, they had some tree propagation projects completed last month. They also did a tree planting project in conjunction with the environmental department that also allowed them to acquire some auger, new equipment. They got another piece of mulcher that helps them clear out properties more efficiently. We actually had them use that on the Catholic 40 to clean up around some of the old structures that had they were fenced off when they was cleaned up, but nobody had been back out there. So we had them dress that up to protect them. A lot of trees were growing up in that. We didn't want those buildings damaged any further. Environmental department, just keeping all those grants cooperative agreements moving with cleanup, air and water. Not a whole lot has changed there. The material removed or consolidated for the month by QSA was a little over 100,000 tons. So that's staying pretty hooked up for them. I mentioned we had the kickoff meeting in Region 7. And last month we also celebrated or had a commemoration event for the 10 years of the tribe doing cleanup work in the Tar Creek Superfund site. And I believe that was greatly successful for everybody that was in attendance. That allowed all the moving parts that's involved with this cleanup and funding and everything. We had head of Superfund here from EPA and different representatives from EPA here, but people that see it on paper, but as you all well know, it's vastly different when you get to lay eyes on it. And I think it was very beneficial to future work by the business committee having that event that day. So I want to thank you guys for that. And I think it went well. Food sovereignty. So mercantile sales, their net sales for last month was $6,633. The farmers market on 9/1, revenue for that was a little over $1,000. Vendor sales was a little over $1,000. Market on 9/15, sales was almost $5,000. Vendor sales was over $2,000. Difference is kind of there. Number of vendors on 9/1, we had 8, and on 9/15 there was 12, so we had a better turnout on that date. The food distribution, first go around, of course, was September 9th or 7th through the 9th, which I touched on a little bit last meeting. We ended up at 358 folks that participated, or head of households that participated in that distribution. Didn't have too many hiccups, like I mentioned last month. However, this next distribution that we're in preparation for, that deadline ends November 1st, with the pickup on that being the 13th through the 18th. If you go to the website and click on the calendar and go to November, it gives you the times and things on that. If you haven't already, we're in preparation for 600 this month. Our numbers have gone up drastically. So right now, we're kind of going to see where we're at on processed meat available and number of people that's active. Like I said, we were well over 500 when we bumped the number to 600 that we're trying to prepare for. So as we get closer, we'll figure out exactly how much meat's going to be in those boxes. But that's been a huge success there. As Member Mercer covered, the pavilion has been completed uptown. I think it looks very, very nice. That allowed food sovereignty to get the rain garden put in. That was under part of that grant that covered it. They're covering some grant opportunities. Some's been awarded. We're working with OSU potentially on a $100,000 a year project for 4 years that may be able to be used for equipment and just further development of the property through the greenhouses and things. So that's been it's been good, and they've been busy. They've had sales from Food Sovereignty's produce itself. They've last month sold 734 transactions. They've let's see, that number didn't come out, and my spacing got a little messed up in Excel. I just now caught that. I was going to give you guys how much produce was produced, but I think it may have messed it up. But that's obviously coming through to the end. They got some fall crops in, but they had a whole bunch. I don't have the number, but they had a whole bunch of pumpkins. If you guys have been down to the Mercantile, there is pumpkins for days down there. So if you need some decorations to eat them, whatever you guys want to do, stop in there. Let's see, the Quapaw Cattle Company. So we're right now at the feeding facility. We're pretty much at full capacity at this, just a head number of 1,325 last month. Our total buffalo currently is at 180 head. And of course, that includes cows, breeding bulls, meat bulls, yearlings, 2-year-old heifers, and new crop calves. Everything should be done with the calving. There may be a couple here or there that are stragglers. On the beef side, we've retained, as I've mentioned, quite a few heifers, but through that we had sorted, weaned a fall group that were really old cattle. So while they were worth something, we culled those. They were 10-year. There was 41 of them, I believe. They were over 10-year plus, some pushing the 20-year mark that I couldn't believe. I had to go help Mitch that day and actually got to lay eyes on them. So they were still in pretty good shape, and the market's good for them. So he called those. And row crop's not been doing too bad. He's kind of in a hard spot on equipment, but we're working through it. Things break when you use it every day. But the processing plant, they covered, there's the parking lot bids were received on Friday. So Monday we'll be getting the results of those and hopefully getting that project moving maybe before November. If not, I see it happening in the spring, just pending the type of work that is. And the processing plant, as you see on 137, they've opened it up for deer processing this year, trying to boost those numbers a little bit. And I look forward to seeing how that's going, because I haven't been over there yet since that's all been set up. But next month I'll have a better report on that. But and that does it for me, unless you guys have any questions for me. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. They are currently being mounted. They were really old, in bad shape. It was a quality life decision. Basically, a couple of them's back feet were bad, hips. So before they just were laying out there, we decided to, and they were in pretty good hair shape. It was early spring when, yeah, right. So they were actually in decent enough shape that we tried to preserve them. So old, yeah, yeah. There's no, well, they're from all over the groups of them that are out there, but they range from kind of everywhere. But There's some big ones not up by the road and things. Those were just the trophy bulls that everybody wanted to see. You know, it's just like, I mean, you have millions of deer here, and there's a handful you see that are just phenomenal. So, yes, ma'am. Yes, Grace.
I just wanted to add to his report. The Tar Creek Conference was a success. Part of that report, and I was so pleased, from our environmental program Quapaw Nation is doing, we could show everyone what the tribe is doing with their work. I mean, we were one of the first nations to say, yes, let us help with the cleanup. This is our land. We want to clean it up. And yes, we are doing that. And as part of that conference, I got to go on top of one of the highest chat piles because there was a course for law students about nature's rights of nature. So law students, so we took a tour, and I ended up on top of the chat pile and looked around, and the view was just really incredible from up there. And when Summer gave her report showing what the land looked like before and what it looks like now, again, we were able to show people this is what Quapaw Nation is doing. In connection with that conference, we were hoping to bring a musical, and we will do that next year, called the Picture Project. And it had to do about picture and its existence and when they finally closed it. But a musical, of all things, has been written about it. So obviously, you know, the Quapaw are part of that. Thursday night's performance, I was at the musical in New York City to see it. And I think you'll really like it when it comes next year. And so a lot is happening, but I did want to comment again how pleased I was with our representation at that conference.
Good, good. Thank you, and thank you for that. That was last week, and I've actually completely gotten all my updates from employees on that. But I'm glad to hear it. Thank you. All right, if that's it.
That's great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next up, Steve Estand, Executive Director, Tribal Member Services.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm going to start out with the fitness center. Their numbers were slightly down for the month of September. They still averaged 171 weekly that attended the fitness center and 24 daily. And they still had 7 continue to use the sauna. The fitness centers only had 3 new memberships, but had 4 renewals. They are offering in the month of October Tai Chi classes Monday and Wednesday, 10:30 in the morning and 5:30 in the evening. They're also offering aerobic drumming classes on Monday and Wednesday in October at 11 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. They are also hosting the CCDF Halloween party. And again, like Eric said, that'll be from 6 to 8 on October 26th. The enrollment department have a total of 5,958 enrolled tribal members, and the registered voters has increased up to 1,699 currently. Title VI put on a birthday celebration and bingo, and they had 31 attended that event. For the month of August, they served 683 congregate meals. They had 3,336 home delivered meals that they served and 105 walk-ins for the month. Higher education, the Quapaw Nation Fitness Center had 3 interns, and they presented their presentations, and they covered aerobic drumming, benefits of swimming, and free weights, and all their presentations were very informative, and The one, Hannah Hardcastle, who put on the aerobic drumming, said that she really got to get to know a lot of the elders, and that's helped her as being on the summer internship. The Quapaw Nation workforce is assisting in preparing all tribal members and non-tribal members for their career path. They will help with mock interviews. They're the ones who put on the summer internships. They will help with resumes, professional development. So if anyone you know is looking for a job and needing assistance with any of those kind of things, please send them our way. They also closed out the summer 2023 traditional funding with 92 students for a total of $95,986. And they had 223 students apply for fall funding for a total of $514,762. Family Services will be putting on a foster care informational night, and a date and time will come. They're looking maybe into the month of November, and that will give information regarding individuals wanting to set up for tribal foster care homes. And they currently have, lost my notes, 6 foster homes open and 4 that are going through the process with the paperwork and home studies to be completed. But they always are looking for foster homes. They also help 20 clients through direct client assistance. In the month of September, they did 2 client transports. They took on 52 calls from clients and 47 client text message conversations. So they had a busy month. And then our general assistants helped 6 people for the month of September. Social services for the month of September assisted with 5 burials. They assisted 2 veterans, 810 utilities for 64 and under for a total of $142,232. 186 65 and over for a total of $33,105. And 13 unmet needs in school clothing for $2,600, which that usually picks up in January, starting the new year. The daycare is going to be hosting their Halloween parties on October 31st for the children. And they currently have 41 Quapaw children, 23 Quapaw Nation employee children, and 9 private pay. OLC has also made some restructuring decisions this last month in the classrooms just to better meet the needs and interest of the teachers and the children. This decision was based on analysis of the teachers and the children and teacher feedback to kind of better fit the teachers with the classrooms and class ages, so that will fit better with the kids, and hopefully that will work out and better for the classroom and the teachers. So hopefully moving forward, the ones that are more comfortable with certain ages, that's what we did, was took feedback from the teachers and then the kids' analysis. So we're confident with OLC continuing to offer safe, nurturing, and stimulating environment for all the children. And every decision made is with the best interest of the children and the daycare as a whole. That's my report. Anybody has any questions? Thank you.
Steve, thank you. Next, Charles Addington, Executive Director, Department of Public Safety.
Well, good morning. And first, I want to congratulate and thank the tribal leadership for this is our 2-year anniversary for the Lawhorn decision and all the support and things that the leadership has done for the nation. I don't know whether everyone sees how much that has been done over the 2 years and the services that you all and the tribe is providing to the whole area is just phenomenal. So thank you all for your support to all the Department of Public Safety departments in that endeavor. And as you can see, as I go through my report, excuse me, you're going to see it's been really busy over the last 2 years, and even the last month is just continues that trend, and we're still seeing those numbers go through the roof as our departments are out there getting it done. So the Fire and EMS department had 220 calls in the month of September. Our mobile integrated health department had about 134 different activities with home visits, transports, emergency responses. Our emergency management had about 27 incidents that they responded to over the last month. And the 911 communication center had a really busy month, 13,342 calls that come into the communication center. 12,000 of those were business calls, and about 1,283 was 911 calls. So really busy month. The QCS had about 146 different interactions. The Marshal Service had they submitted about 320 reports, had about 337 different offenses, and had 15 arrests for the month. And I want to, you guys probably seen the email, and I know a lot of the community. I want to commend our school resource officer, John Millard, on the incident we had over at the school where we had a gentleman show up with a gun, caused a lot of panic right as the elementary school was letting out. He was right there and was able to take care of that situation. We had people running, thinking we was going to have some type of an active shooting event, and everything worked just like it was supposed to. And having those school resource officers right there in the school was really seen by the community that they're there to take care of that. He was able to do that right away, and all of our staff that got there and helped take care of it. So great job by all of those guys. Our courts had the busiest month. They had 162 different cases and hearings and stuff. A total of 108 cases they heard in the month of September. So that was just a large amount in 1 month. Our probation office, it continues to grow. Of course, we had 49 different activity there, 42 continual probation. We even had some people that was released from probation, and we had some new folks that come in. But that's a great tool for alternatives to sentencing, keeping people from having to go to jail for those incidents where we can put them out on probation, try to get them the help that they need, keep them out of jail. So it's really doing well. Couple things that's going on this month. Next Saturday, October 28th, from 10 to 2, is our DEA National Prescription Drug Take Back Day. So we're going to have 2 locations here on the reservation where you can take your prescription drugs and drop them off. One of those will be over at the Title VI building on Whitebird Street, and the other one will be at the Commerce Police Department. If someone has prescription drugs that you need to drop off, though, at any time, you can always drop them off at the Marshal Service, or if you're not able to get out and you need someone to come get them, if you'll call the Marshal Service, we can actually send someone out to pick up those unused prescription drugs, because we want to get them out of the house so a child or someone that doesn't know what they are can't get their hands on it. So that'll be next Saturday at those 2 locations, but you can drop them off anytime at the Marshal Service. One of the other things that we're very proud of is our emergency management department was able to secure smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors for anyone that lives on the reservation. It doesn't sound like it's going to be any problem with getting enough to outfit every house on the reservation if folks want them. So we've got a flyer out. It was actually posted on the Post and on social media, but we're going to start putting them up around different places on the reservation, as well as someone can call the fire department and request, hey, I would like those, and give them the address, and they'll schedule a time to come out. And if we can't do that, some people may not have that access. We're going to start sending fire folks around, and we're going to try to map it out to where we go to different communities, different days, and try to go house to house in case someone doesn't have the ability to call in and request one, and see if folks want those. So we'll come out, put them up, show them how they operate and everything else. So we'll start doing that. And if we miss people, we're going to hang flyers on their door, let them know we've been out. And if we happen to miss them because they're at work or whatever, they can call back in, and then we'll reschedule that and come out. So really good. And those are going to be free to anyone that wants them, that lives on the reservation. The last thing, I got three things on the agenda, it looks like. A is our Marshal Service Axon in-car cameras. So that's we have a current contract with Axon to provide all of our body cameras and our in-car cameras. So we're capturing that footage on any kind of incidents out there. And we had new vehicles that we don't have cameras for. So that's what this is actually adding to our fleet, because when we first did the contract, we only ordered a certain amount, and we didn't have enough to put in all the vehicles. So this gets all the officers where they've got in-car cameras, where if they're out somewhere, they're capturing everything on video. And then K and L is just the authorization of the extensions for the public defenders that we currently have in the courts. So with that, that's all I've got. Has anybody got any questions?
Did have one question for you, Charles. Are those both smoke as well as carbon monoxide detectors? Did I understand that?
Yes. So
That's great.
two smoke detectors and a carbon monoxide detector for each home. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So, and like I say, if we'll try to get around multiple times to the communities, we're going to send some fire staff out and just start stopping by throughout the day and try to make sure we get as many houses as possible if folks can't call in. But there's an opportunity to get them anytime, so we can just do them as people schedules them. But it's a good deal. It's free to folks, and they can come out and put them up and actually show them how they operate and stuff. So get some protection in people's homes.
Is that a FEMA grant?
No, it's actually it's through FEMA, but it's through I'm trying to think if it's IHS. No, it is through FEMA. So there's an office that actually provides these, and we just call them and tell them how many we want, how many homes we're going to put them in. So they told us they would give us a certain amount, and then once we use those all up, then they'll give us more, and keep going until we get all the houses done on the reservation that want them.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and move on to new business. We do have a fair number of resolutions. At least it didn't go up to letter S this month, so I think we're doing good. Member Gibbs-Water, would you please cover the first three resolutions?
You bet. Resolution number 102123-A, a resolution approving the purchase of 8 Axon in-car camera systems for the marshals. Whereas the marshals are in need of 8 Axon in-car camera systems, which include hardware and software licenses. This system will be used along with existing Axon body cameras, allowing officers to document all aspects of public interactions to address civil, criminal, and liability issues that may arise. Having conducted due diligence in accordance with current policy and ensuring sufficient unencumbered funds exist, and therefore it be resolved that the attached purchase request for 8 Axon in-car camera systems is approved by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee. Madam Chair, I so move to approve.
So we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Member Buffalo. Any further discussion on this? Thank you. All those in favor of approving Resolution 102123-A, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes.
Resolution number 102123-B, a resolution of the Quapaw Nation authorizing the purchase of JS Consultants and Associates, LLC. Whereas JS Consultants and Associates is a limited liability company that owns real property within the Quapaw Nation reservation control and protections of lands within the Quapaw Nation reservation is essential to the nation's sovereignty. The Quapaw Nation Business Committee has determined it is within the best interest of the nation to purchase JS Consultants and Associates LLC, inclusive of the real property assets pursuant to the unit process agreement and accompanying escrow agreement. And therefore be it resolved by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee agrees to the terms of the unit purchase agreement and escrow agreement, and hereby authorizes Chair Weena Supernaut or a delegate of her choosing to execute the agreement on the behalf of the nation. Madam Chair, I so move to approve resolution number 102123-B.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Question.
All those in favor of approving Resolution 1021-23-B, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes.
All right. Resolution number 102123-C. A resolution to approve the utility assistance benefit increase. Whereas a need exists for increased monies to assist such members in keeping their utility payments current and prevent shutoffs, particularly in times of extreme heat and cold, which are common in northeast Oklahoma and which present a health hazard to the very youngest and very eldest members of the nation. And now, therefore, be it resolved for the calendar year 2024, the current utility assistance benefit for those under the age of 65 will be increased from $1,400 annually to $1,600 annually, and for those aged 65 years and older will be increased from $1,700 annually to $1,900 annually. Madam Chair, I so move to approve resolution number 102123-C.
Thank you. Is there a second? We've got a second. Any discussion?
Call for the question.
Thank you. All those in favor of passing Resolution 1021-23-C, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Would, Member Davis, would you cover the next two, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution number 102123-D is a resolution to provide tuition reimbursement to eligible Quapaw Nation governmental employees. Quapaw Nation will reimburse an employee up to a maximum of $2,500 per year for continuing education through an accredited program that either offers growth in an area related to his or her current position or that may lead to promotional opportunities within the Quapaw Nation. This education may include college credit hours, continuing education unit courses, seminars, and certification tests that are job-related. Eligibility is tuition reimbursement is available for any course that is part of an approved degree program to all full-time employees who have been employed for a minimum of 12 months. Employee is required to remain employed by the Quapaw Nation for a minimum of 1 year after completion of the course. Madam Chair, I so move to adopt resolution number 102123-D.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
We've got a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of adopting Resolution 1021-23-D, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes.
Resolution number 102123-E is a resolution approving the construction of civil infrastructure for the housing subdivision at the former Ray property. The housing subdivision that is being constructed on the former Ray property requires civil infrastructure prior to occupation. Such improvements include but are not limited to roadway construction, street lighting, water, and sewer. Having solicited qualified vendors, provided adequate public notice, and performed due diligence in accordance with current policy and ensuring sufficient unencumbered funds exist, and therefore be it resolved that the attached purchase request for construction of civil infrastructure for the housing subdivision being constructed at the former Ray property is approved by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee. Madam Chair, I so move to adopt resolution number 102123-E.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second by Member Mercer. Any discussion?
Question.
All those in favor of adopting Resolution 1021-23-E, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Vice Chairman Glass, would you take the next two, please?
Madam Chair. Resolution 102123F. I believe this is the one that Trenton had talked about earlier. Resolution authorizing the purchase of free property located within the extended boundaries of the Quapaw Nation and authorize the chairperson or an authorized representative to execute the purchase on behalf of the Quapaw Nation. Whereas the Quapaw Business Committee, Tribal Business Committee supports the purpose of the property by the Quapaw Nation, agrees to the price for the outright purchase of the property. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Business Committee of the Quapaw Nation that the tribal chairman or an authorized representative of the Quapaw Nation is hereby authorized to negotiate and execute the purchase of the land located within the extended boundaries of the Quapaw Nation and to promote tribal sovereignty, self-determination, and such other uses as may be determined. Madam Chairman, I so move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Member Davis. Is there discussion?
I just wanted to clarify and correct my earlier statement. We have already taken care of the property north of elderly housing. This one is for the Blue Stem area purchase.
So this is the blue stem.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification, Trenton. Any additional discussion or questions associated with that clarification? Call for the question. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 1021-23-F, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries.
Resolution 102123G. Resolution requesting the Secretary of Interior to take a parcel of land consisting of approximately 40 acres, more or less, into trust for the benefit of the Quapaw Nation. Therefore, be it resolved, the Quapaw Nation and Business Committee deems it appropriate and in the best interest of the tribe to apply to have title of the property as defined herein placed into trust by the United States of America for the benefit of the tribe. Therefore, be it resolved, the Quapaw Nation Committee hereby requests the Secretary of Interior, by and through his or her authorization representative, to take into trust title to the above referred property totaling 40 acres, more or less, for the benefit of the Quapaw tribe. Madam Chairman, I move to approve this resolution.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Member Gibbs-Water. Any discussion?
Call for the question.
Thank you. All those in favor of passing Resolution 1021-23-G, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Member Buffalo, would you please take the next two?
Resolution number 102123-H. A resolution requesting the Secretary of Interior to take a parcel of land consisting of approximately 40 acres, more or less, into trust for the benefit of the Quapaw Nation. This is the one that Trenton referred to where they automatically have to take it in trust. So I would move to adopt.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 1021-23-H, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes.
Resolution number 102123-I. Resolution approving the programmatic agreement between the Quapaw Nation and the Mark Twain National Forest. Whereas this agreement is regarding the process for compliance with Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act for the Zone 3 fuels reduction and prescribed fire project on the Mark Twain National Forest, the eastern region of the USDA Forest Service. And whereas the Quapaw Nation Committee should be Business Committee correction there. Chairman. Desires to approve such agreement effective immediately upon the execution by the last party to sign in the interest of protecting the nation's valuable and irreplaceable cultural and historical information. And therefore be it resolved that the programmatic agreement between the nation and the Mark Twain National Forest Brigade relating to Section 101 compliance for the Zone 3 fuels reduction prescribed fire project of the Mark Twain National Forest of the eastern region of the USDA Forest Service hereby approved, and further the chair is hereby authorized to execute and deliver such agreement on behalf of the nation. Madam Chair, I move to adopt.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 1021-23-I, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. I'll take the next three. This is Resolution 1021-23-J, a resolution accepting a supplemental term to the tobacco tax compact between the state of Oklahoma and the Quapaw Nation. Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby accepts the offer by the state of Oklahoma of a supplemental term to the tobacco tax compact between the state of Oklahoma and the Quapaw Nation as provided in Senate Bill 26X, and the Quapaw Nation Business Committee authorizes the chair of the Business Committee to execute a letter to the state of Oklahoma accepting the supplemental term to the tobacco tax compact in accordance with this resolution. I move to adopt Resolution 1021-23-J. Is there a second?
Second.
Great. We've got a second. Any discussion? One thing I did want to point out to folks, the reason that we're doing this resolution is this particular bill that's referenced 26X, that's the one the Oklahoma House voted to basically extend the tobacco tax compact for all the tribes that were expiring at the end of this year for 2 years. Things got a little hinky in Oklahoma City. The governor vetoed that bill that was passed. Then both the Senate as well as the House overrode the governor's veto, and that's where we are. We've got a 1-year extension, so this is our formal acceptance of that 1-year extension. There are still court cases that are pending that will continue to proceed, but in the meantime, we need to formally accept the current statute, which is this 1-year extension. Any further discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor of passing Resolution 1021-23-J, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next one is a resolution authorizing the extension of Public Defender Candace Brewster Gayoso's contract through October 31st, 2024. So the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby extends the contract of Candace Brewster Gayoso as public defender in the Quapaw Nation courts for 1 year. Therefore, be it resolved that Candace Brewster Gayoso is hereby empowered to perform the duties of her office and otherwise conduct business in the Quapaw Nation's courts. I'll move to adopt Resolution 1021-23-K. Is there a second? Great, we've got a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of adopting Resolution 1021-23-K, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Next one is very similar. It's Resolution 1021-23-L, a resolution authorizing the extension of Public Defenders Jeremy Bennett and Ken Gallen's contracts through October 31st, 2024. Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby extends the contracts of Jeremy Bennett and Ken Gallen as public defenders in the Quapaw Nation courts for 1 year and empowers them to perform the duties of their office and otherwise conduct business in the Quapaw Nation's courts. I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 1021-23-L. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Member Gibbswater. Any discussion?
Call for the question.
Thank you. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 1021-23-L, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Member Mercer, would you please take the last two resolutions on new business?
Yes, thank you. Resolution number 102123M. This is a resolution to authorize the sale of the Quapaw Nation's restricted interest in chat in the consolidated number 3 chat pile located under the jurisdiction of the Quapaw Nation. Whereas the Quapaw Nation's Business Committee supports the sale of the nation's interest in restricted chat on the consolidated number 3 chat pile. Total tonnage is 1,598.37 tons. The nation further agrees to grant access to the site to EPA and its contractors to remove said interest in chat, and further understands that the nation's proportionate share will be paid up front. Therefore, be it resolved by the Business Committee of the Quapaw Nation that the nation's chairperson or an authorized representative of the Quapaw Nation is hereby authorized to execute this consent given for the chat sale and access over the nation's interest in chat and property. Move to adopt.
Great. We've got a motion to adopt as well as a second. Any discussion?
Call for the question.
Thank you. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 1021-23-M, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Barbara?
All the highway things that they're changing over here in this area. Does the tribe work? I know you must have gotten some notification through the Bureau of Indian Affairs. I assume that's who you have to go through continually to sell chat. Does the tribe have anything to do with supporting landowners' chat? Some of the chat piles have been sitting around here for 60 years or more, and nothing's moved on them. What's the Bureau's stance on chat sales these days? I'd be interested in knowing that.
Trenton, do you want to address that?
Yes, Madam Chair. Excuse me. The Bureau of Indian Affairs, it was during actually COVID, we assisted them in doing a virtual chat sale of their major piles, because that's our dividing line on what we can help facilitate. The BIA handles the major piles, and we're able to do what they deem distal, which that's kind of a moving target on what that is. But basically, once the Bureau of Indian Affairs has exhausted their measures in trying to market the major piles, once they don't receive bids, they deem it kind of unmarketable and turn it over to us. And then we try to go out and get local chat processors to show interest in it, because per the ROD, once it's deemed unmarketable, we can still sell it, but it has to be local to keep costs down, because now we're the ones removing that material. During that last major sale, the Bureau sold every major pile that remained on trusted restricted property, with the exception of the western, as it was tied up still in litigation. Now, there was another litigation on the Sooner pile that we've had meetings with the Bureau of Indian Affairs to try to help chat owners resolve that, as chat owners, actually the operator that has the interest with the fee owner being Bingham or WDM, they all wish for that to be resolved on the Sooner pile. And so the Bureau is working now. They had meetings scheduled for this week or next week with the processor to try to get everything, historic documents and stuff in place so that they can move forward with the chat sale of that. So that's off high centered. And from that meeting, they indicated that they was close in receiving a decision on the Western litigation that's holding up that pile. And that's the last remaining major pile that doesn't have a chat contract on it at this time. And so they're hopeful that fairly soon that pile will be resolved. And if you go through, the skeleton piles on the south end of the town are gone, or almost gone. The St. Joe that's up in the heart of Pitcher looks drastically different if you drive through there now, where the old Little League field used to be on the old Main Street. They've knocked the top of that down substantially, and we've had we're wrapping up our last bit of money through the marketable chat side of, because that funding pot had a timeline on it and tonnage. So we've worked through the majority of that through the OKO, the consolidated number 3, Crystal Central, and we're working towards trying to get the Blue Goose resolved. We had a couple chat owners that didn't wish to participate in selling, so we had sent out notices just to educate on, okay, now if you choose that route, this is per the ROD what they're responsible to do. So pretty much everything with the exception of the Western on restricted or trust property has had an agreement on it and is moving forward. And we're hopeful that the Western comes fairly soon. So that's the only one that hadn't received anything. Does that answer your questions?
Yes, is the Bureau's contract to bid on those still about 600 pages long?
Oh,
Have they?
I don't know what the contract to bid looks like. The processors haven't indicated of any issues with bidding on piles. I know pre-Good Eagle settlement, there was some kind of issues between restricted owners and processors and liability that everybody was kind of scared of. That's been resolved because we haven't had an issue on the multiple chat sales that we run through here just about every other month of ever having Bingham or WDM have any issues with that bidding process.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Trenton. Any further discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 1021-23-M, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes.
The last resolution is resolution number 102123-N. This is a resolution authorizing the execution of lease agreements supporting documents with Caterpillar Financial Services Corporation over the two new 2023 Caterpillar 330-70s with serial numbers that are identified. This is the lease Trenton was talking about, which they need in order to move on the Kansas side. And whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee supports the lease agreements between Cat Financial and Quapaw Nation and the limited waiver of sovereign immunity contained herein, therefore be it resolved by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee that this resolution authorizes Quapaw Nation to enter into a limited waiver of sovereign immunity as specified in the attachment, a document of each contract and authorizes Trenton Stan, Executive Director of Resource Management, to execute the lease agreements identified by the contract numbers above on behalf of the Quapaw Nation. Madam Chair, I move to adopt.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
We've got a second. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 1021-23-N, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. All right, so we're through all the resolutions and new business. We are moving on to donation requests. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Member Gibbswater, would you please do the first donation?
Yeah. We have
And also, is there anyone here who can speak to this one? I wasn't sure.
from the Fairland After Prom.
Please go ahead. Thank you.
We received a donation request from the Fairland After Prom in a amount requested of $500. Details of the event is the purpose of After Prom is to provide a safe alternative for students to participate in after the festivities of prom. We do this by giving incentive prizes, providing games and activities, and of course food. In the years past, we have rented a money machine, had sumo wrestling with the air-up costumes, had a hypnotist, taken them bowling, and even a mechanical bull. This year, we plan to take the students to Soar and Joplin and then to the Waffle House. Sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
I know, I'm like, I want to go be a chaperone.
I mean, go do.
Is there a motion on this particular donation request?
Madam Chair, I move to approve for the amount requested of $500.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great. Any further discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor of approving the donation request for Fairland After Prom at the level of $500, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The donation request is approved for $500. Member Davis, would you please take the next one?
Yes. This is a donation request that came to us from the OSU Ottawa County Extension Office, and the amount requested is $50. And they are asking for help in sponsoring awards for Achievement Celebration. They have 10 4-H members complete county record books on 75 project areas and 3 Cloverbed record books. It is through the support of people like you who make 4-H a success, and your continued support is greatly appreciated. The nation will be recognized through Facebook and social media. Madam Chair, I so move to approve the donation request of $50 to the OSU Ottawa County Extension Office.
Great. So we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Member Buffalo. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor of approving the donation request to OSU Ottawa County Extension in the amount of $50, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Vice Chairman Glass, would you please take the next one?
This is for the Quapaw Pee Wee cheerleaders. Do we have a representative here to speak?
Thank you.
I'm the president of the Quapaw Pee Wee Cheerleaders. We are totally self-funded. The girls raise the money to pay for their uniforms, our homecoming activities, our end-of-the-year parties. This year, last year we weren't able to have an end-of-the-year party due to limited funds. So this year I wanted to do a great one for them. We are asking for $2,500 to buy jackets, Letterman jackets, and the letter Q to go on the coats for the girls, the um, I, as far as the cheerleaders, these are young. We start at pre-K all the way up through our sixth graders. Cheerleading is more than just cheerleading. These girls learn cells. They're learning teamwork. They learn about the community. We do bake sales, and the girls actually go out into the stands and sell the baked goods, and they have to learn how to make change. So I'm like really proud of my girls. Sorry. Like I said, we don't get any kind of funding from through the schools or anything. We are self based. So, and I have two of my cheerleaders.
I was going to ask if both of them are cheerleaders. Thank you and welcome this morning.
Yes, this is Aaliyah. This is my Elena. My girls.
So you're requesting a donation in the amount of $2,500.
The total. I have 46 cheerleaders, and out of that 46, 30 of them are Native children, and at least 16 are Quapaw children. The coat that they're wanting to get is $48, and then the letter Q to go on their coats, which we are doing them separately because it's cheaper to do it that way, and then we're just going to sew. Several of us are going to sew the cues on the coats for the children. So the total before shipping and handling is $2,530, and then shipping and handling taxes on top of all that.
Thank you. Any further questions? Is there a motion?
Did you say there was 16 Quapaw?
There's at least 16 Quapaw cheerleaders.
Okay.
Quapaw tribal.
Madam Chair, based upon calculations, I would make a motion to approve $800 for the Quapaw children to cover their cost.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. Any additional discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor of approving the donation request for the Quapaw Pee-wee cheerleaders in the amount of $800, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Got one
Same.
abstention, 2 abstentions. So we've got 4 ayes, Steva, and 2 abstentions. The motion carries. The donation request is approved in the amount of $800.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here this morning. Member Buffalo, would you please take the next donation?
Anybody here for the 14 under KC softball?
We were given indication there might be someone on Zoom for this particular donation for the 14 and under KC softball. Billy Shawnee. We think they might actually be at a tournament this morning. We can't tell. Okay.
Donation is for Lonnie and Shawnee for travel, team fees, tournament fees in the Aces Fast Pitch 14 under bracket in Kansas City. I think they're playing right now, so. Amount requested is $500.
Is there a motion on this donation request?
Move.
At the level of 500?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor of approving the donation request for tribal member 14 and under KC softball at the amount of $500, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? The donation request is approved for $500. Member Mercer, would you please take the last one?
The last one is a donation request from First Presbyterian Church, and Miss Grace Good Eagle, I believe, is here to speak on behalf.
Yes, thank you. This request is coming from the First Presbyterian Church in Miami. I'm a member of that church. In the past, we have been thankful that the Quapaw Nation has helped us with our backpack program. This program, as we get names of families in need attending Roosevelt Elementary School, they pack lunches or backpack packages for the students so they can take food with them, so they'll have food on the weekend. Again, these are families in need. I know of other churches that are helping other schools as well. And I have an interest in this because as a kid, I went to Roosevelt Elementary School. and the tribe has been so gracious to help us as they've helped others with various programs. We've done well, and we've not had a request of the tribe recent years, but now we are finding the numbers have increased. Food costs have increased. And so we're keeping the program going. We have donations coming in from other sources, but again, the Quapaw were so good about giving monies to us for our program in the past. And the amount shown, I believe, on the request was for $1,200, and that's what the tribe had given them in the past. But I realize now we do have a different policy type of thing of perhaps 500. Any amount would be certainly appreciated by the church for this program. So.
Madam Chair, I move that we make a donation of $500.
We've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? Call for the question. So all those in favor of approving the donation request for the First Presbyterian Church in the amount of $500, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? The donation request is approved for $500. I think that covers all of the donation requests. We're going to go on to open forum. Just as a quick reminder to everybody, the same rules apply. Each person has 5 minutes, one trip to the podium, and the speaker topics must pertain to the agenda, or they must have previously filed a form to be placed on the agenda. We do have 2 individuals that requested to be placed on the agenda, and the first is Barbara Collier.
Thank you, Chairman. I just told Crystal I hope I can get up out of this chair, but I don't have to now, I guess.
We're all getting stiff, sitting still.
That's right. First off, I had 2 items on the form, which I found out that had to be filled out. Another form had to be filled out to even speak on something at the meeting. So that was a surprise. But anyway, we got it done. The first thing was I appreciate the fact that you already announced that the Quapaw people will have an opportunity to eat at Red Oak Steakhouse on New Year's Eve, as well as have rooms. In the past, we have taken our children out and treated them to dinner at Red Oak for several years until last year, and I couldn't even get a callback for a reservation, nor were there rooms available to anyone, even as early as I think we started calling in September this year. So I contacted the manager, and he did call me back yesterday and give me the same information, that it had been discussed and that there would be 20 rooms set aside, as well as reservations for Quapaw people to be able to enjoy the services there. That of course we all paid for our meals just like everybody else, but I know they want to tender to high rollers on that night because they spend a lot more money than I'm sure I will. Anyway, my next subject is the form now that I found out also that you have to fill out to get copies of documentation that the business committee acts on. And I requested a copy of the gaming ordinance that you submitted in last month. It was in last month's meeting minutes for the gaming ordinance to be changed. The original gaming ordinance, of course, has been in place a long time, and I'm sure needed some updates, but it was written by authorities of people that were on the National Indian Gaming Commission back then, and as well as tribal leaders, and as well as the now current chief of the Osage Nation, who was our gaming attorney at that time. So I can't imagine a lot of changes that needed to be made, and I requested a copy of that document, and I have not received it. So I'd like to know if it was written by management who authored it, or they hired a lawyer at the downstream a couple of years ago that knew nothing about gaming. So I can't imagine them being real beneficial in preparing a document. And I would just like to know a little more about it and compare what it says to what the rules and regulations are that are currently in place, and with the approval of the National Indian Gaming Commission. And I'd like to know when I might be able to expect that, or if I will be able to expect it.
Thank you, Barbara. I'll respond and invite others to join in as well. And I don't think you were here in the meeting last month, but in the 9/16 meeting, Member Davis provided an overview of that draft document. So, it's still in draft form until the NIG, or the National Indian Gaming Commission, approves it. And that should take place on or about December the 19th, because I know better than anybody, they have 90 days to go through their review and come back with questions, approve, decline, whatever the right answers are. So it was on September the 19th that we submitted to the NIGC a revised tribal gaming ordinance under its expressed authority. Now, that revised tribal gaming ordinance is for the Quapaw Nation to actually adopt the tribal gaming model ordinance. So the NIGC is the author of that. We had a couple of tweaks in there, but it's the model gaming ordinance that they published and recommended to all the tribes back in 2018. So we know that we haven't modified our tribal gaming ordinance since 2012, and therefore last month, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee decided by a majority vote to adopt the model gaming ordinance and submit to the NIGC for their approval. So at the current time, it is in draft form until that approval or rejection is provided, and we do expect that to occur mid-December. So hopefully that explains the authorship of the document. It's the model gaming ordinance that the NIGC came out with a few years ago. And I think your other question had to do with at what point in time will you have the ability to inspect the document. It is in draft form. This is my view, and it may not be shared with others, on the business committee. But when the amendment was passed on July 22nd regarding the Freedom of Information request, the BC has 30 days to respond to that. That's not the important point. Here's the important point. There were certain exceptions in that, so that things like unaudited financial statements would not be released, or personally identifying information. Releasing a draft document at this point, my recommendation is it is not a good idea. However, the business committee just started talking about that this week, and we have not reached a conclusion yet as to whether it's appropriate, Barbara, to release that document in draft form before the NIGC renders its decision mid-December. Does anybody else want to weigh in?
I agree with those comments.
I concur with that.
But we didn't have some lawyer off in a corner making up their own rules. This is the model gaming ordinance.
The only thing I see wrong with that is if someone does have an issue with the draft document, there is no, once it's approved by the National Land and Gaming Commission, it cannot be modified.
It's interesting as I've studied just a little bit about the NIGC process. You know, unlike other regulatory agencies that I'm familiar with, you know, like the Financial Accounting Standards Board, they commonly have, you know, some processes that allow public comment, industry comment, other relevant experts to weigh in during those various processes. The NIGC does not have that built into their process. So we had to approve something. It's got to go to the NIGC. Now they've got their 90 days to go through their review and approval process. But there is no public comment that's built, you know, kind of process built into it that I've been able to find.
You're correct. So if something's submitted by the business committee to the National Land and Gaming Commission in a draft form and they approve it, then it takes a process in order to, again, come back and change it or change anything in it. So that's my point.
Agreed.
I'd like to speak. Of course, last month I did abstain from this changing of the ordinance. You know, to me, I felt like it's trying to change something in the middle of the stream, especially when we have issues with the state of Oklahoma. There's one thing that in here, I have not seen it myself, but discussion is that we're wanting to go from one commissioner to 3 commissioners. And I do not see how that would help with the process of what the ordinance has been doing. There's very few things that have gone to the commissioner. Very few things has gone to a commissioner. Same thing with Q&GA. They have their own attorney, which I have not heard very many other gaming facilities that they do not have an attorney for their gaming. So these are things that I abstain from.
Well, that's our gaming agency is set up differently than a lot of gaming agencies because of the boilerplate way things were set up with most tribes whenever gaming started for tribes. And we thoroughly investigated, as I say, authors of the ordinance we have and the setup have been used then later on by other tribes that have seen how ours works and it works so well. So they've made changes in their gaming agencies and commissions. So it's just it's a long road that we've come down, and I was just interested in what the changes were. It does make me feel a little better that it is a model contract, but even though it is, what works for one does not necessarily all work for all, and ours has been working. So I would like to still see a copy of it. If it comes back approved or disapproved, I would still retain my request to see a copy of it.
Thank you, Barbara. Next on the open forum, we have Mary Heather Dismuke. Is Heather here?
She was here.
Okay, we'll move on. Are there any other open forum items in the room? Just a second, Brenda. Yeah.
I just have an idea that on the AARPs, that the 3 representatives from the tribe be given some kind of gift from the tribe, like maybe a Pendleton throw or blanket or something to be presented to them. That's all.
I think having the ability to really applaud the achievements and accomplishments of these individuals is just, it's a major milestone. And I think it's a really, really nice recommendation. Thank you, Brenda. Grace? Sorry, I
Yes,
don't have
thank
my
you.
glasses on. I can't see so well sometimes.
As one of the elders, we do want to encourage and nurture our members because they're involved in all kinds of activities and events, and we want to support them. My daughter is in Wisconsin. She is the director of the Johnson O'Malley program for Western Wisconsin. They're having a powwow November the 17th. There are 3 schools involved, but it is the Johnson O'Malley program. The powwow is for the students, for their families, and for the community. Last year they had 60 people attend. This is the 4th annual that they'll be doing. Dawn would like to have a Quapaw table at the powwow, and we were too late getting in a request. Steve Stan has graciously offered to help us collect items, different items, like I know our departments have things that they give away at fairs and stuff, and that kind of thing. I'd be happy to help with collection. And then Steve again has graciously offered to send items up to Wisconsin for their powwow and our Quapaw table. Thank you.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Grace, may I ask you to lead us in our closing prayer? Please rise if you can.
And Tate, we come to you at this time. We want to give thanks to you. We first want to give thanks to you for earth and sky and water. These are your creations that you have given to us, and we thank you. Father, we thank you for being with us during our deliberations with this business committee meeting and all that's been decided, been discussed. We thank you for being with us. I ask now that you would be with each of us now as we leave, and be with us, watch over us, protect us, take care of us. And also for those who were not able to be with us, perhaps they're joining by Zoom. But we think of all of our people, and we know we are your people. And so again, we are just so grateful to you. We think of loved ones, we think of those who need assistance, for instance, if they're ill or this kind of thing. But you know your people. We are your people. And we are so thankful to you for all that you have given us. And because you have given us much, we have much to give. And that's what we want to do in your name. Ganagay and Tate.
Amen. Is there a motion to adjourn? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstentions? We stand adjourned. Thank you.